Wonderful. Thank you, Emily, for that great introduction. I am excited to be joining you today to share with you some information about the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences Pre-Professional Assessment and Certification Program. Today's session will provide a brief background of the program and provide some guidance in how it can be used on the pathway to success. If you think for a moment, success is a destination, but what does that look like for our students, our family and consumer sciences programs, and for the employers and the community in which we serve? How would our administrators and decision makers actually measure that success? The Pre-Professional Assessment and Certification Program, what we fondly refer to as Pre-PAC, is that unique piece that will help move your students and your family and consumer sciences program towards success and a sustainable future. Pre-PAC is simply an end-of-program, assessment-based, industry-recognized certification. Now, we know that education policymakers and administrators are increasingly focusing on standards, effectiveness, and accountability for all education programs. In fact, in 2006, the Perkins Act strongly emphasized accountability for career and technical education programs, which includes family and consumer sciences. In fulfilling the purposes of Perkins IV, it included requirements associated with the preparation of students for both post-secondary and career, preparing students with both academic skills as well as the technical skills that they learn in our content-based courses. Perkins emphasized technical skill attainment through the use of technical skill assessments and emphasized the achievement of credentials. If we look at the definition of technical skill assessments and credentials through Perkins, we know that these credentials are really a win-win for all of us. They document the qualifications, competence, and authority of an individual. It helps to assure the public and other stakeholders that individuals have met or exceeded certain standards set by a third party. We're excited that the Pre-PAC assessments and credentials are included on the credentials list available with the career clusters. However, if you think about national assessments and industry-recognized certifications in the family and consumer sciences arena, you'll notice that there are many gaps. So it was time to change that with some out-of-the-bowl thinking. AAFCS stepped up and agreed to launch Pre-PAC in its long-standing Family and Consumer Sciences Credentialing Center. So in 2009, Pre-PAC was born. It was born to provide a national, competency-based, third-party exam to document achievement in family and consumer sciences content areas. These content areas and competencies should reflect the demands of business and industry. The rigorous and psychometrically sound assessments do offer reliable results that can be used to recognize individuals and programs, to facilitate accountability, and to promote program improvement and effectiveness. Our assessments have broad uses in education settings at both the secondary and post-secondary levels, as well as in extension, youth, and community-based programs, as well as in business and industry. The industry credential that is earned with a qualifying score is an excellent way to validate competency and to increase one's employability. Pre-PAC has actually developed and launched online assessments in many areas. As you can see from the list, there are assessments and certifications in areas of family and consumer sciences where currently no industry-based certifications exist. The portfolio now includes 11 assessment and certification areas. Additional areas are being developed based on need and feasibility. For example, we have a pre-professional assessment and certification in leadership currently under development and should be launching in the 16-17 school year. From this list, I hope that you can identify assessments and certifications that correlate with the programs of study that you may currently offer. After reviewing relevant content standards at the national level, as well as a cross-sampling of states, and gaining input regarding industry standards from business and industry representatives, a competency blueprint was actually developed. That business and industry representation was very important in serving as a foundation for the assessment. Additionally, the National Family and Consumer Sciences content standards were used to ensure that we had a standards-based approach. Both industry standards and national content standards help to identify the national competencies included. Business and industry also help to identify domains or key topic areas that should be addressed within the assessment. Also, the competencies included in the blueprint also align with the National Career Cluster's essential knowledge, skill sets. You'll also find that the Pre-PAC competencies correlate and align with the 21st century skills as well as other relevant standards. For example, our early childhood education exam correlates with the competencies associated with the National Association for the Education for Young Children. Our personal and family finance assessment correlates to the National Jumpstart Standards. Our competency blueprint has a very strong foundation. These blueprints are posted to our Pre-PAC website so that programs can be sure that their curriculum and instruction aligns with those competencies. It is important for teachers and programs to review the competency list for each assessment to ensure that the competencies do match with your own curriculum and instruction. From a national perspective, you can see the crosswalk to the national standards. So we have assessments and certifications that cover all areas of the national standards. Additionally, the essential knowledge and skill sets with the career clusters are aligned with our Pre-PAC products. We currently have assessments and certifications that cover 11 of the 16 career clusters. This alignment matrix also shows the pathways and programs of study within each career cluster. Additionally, you will find that our assessments do align and correlate not only with the 21st century skills associated with critical thinking, technology, leadership, it also aligns with the U.S. Department of Education's recently launched Employability Skills Framework, as well as the Career Ready Practices for the Common Career and Technical Core. You will find an assessment alignment matrix on our website for each of our assessments. We know that Pre-PAC is the best way to document the exit level achievement and competency of your students in both rigorous secondary programs as well as lower division post-secondary courses. In some FCS content areas, there are no valid methods or tools for secondary and post-secondary programs to assess student competencies, thereby to substantiate their role in preparing students for success in the workplace. Pre-PAC is an excellent tool that will allow you to measure and validate individual competency achievement. Using the results that you'll get immediately from the Pre-PAC assessments, teachers can target gaps in student knowledge and skill base and provide individual remediation or acceleration. Additionally, the data from the Pre-PAC assessments and certification products can be used to maximize performance growth and to evaluate student learning goal targets. We have a test-retest product, which is used in many cases as pre- and post-testing. So it's an excellent way to evaluate the performance of growth of students from the beginning of a program to the ending of a program. With the results obtained from the assessments, decisions that are driven by data can be made regarding curriculum and instruction and the professional development needs of teachers. In addition, the data can be utilized to recognize programs, to document program effectiveness, and to position programs for funding and resource acquisition. Additionally, Pre-PAC is a pathway to facilitate articulation, placement, and credit by exam within post-secondary institutions. When students apply for jobs or want to gain admission to degree programs in family and consumer sciences programs, or when they want to obtain credit by examination for a course they took in high school, this assessment can validate the competencies that they've learned. The Perkins Act, national career clusters, as well as state programs have placed greater emphasis on transitioning from secondary to post-secondary programs. Pre-PAC promotes the use of assessments and certifications for this purpose. We do have a special place devoted on our website to identifying the articulation agreements that include Pre-PAC across the United States. Because the assessment and certification is based and was driven by industry standards, it really does ensure that your family and consumer sciences program is adequately preparing students for success in the workplace, as well as enhancing their education through furthering their education at a post-secondary level. Pre-PAC does provide an industry-recognized certification and meets the definition of an industry-recognized certification by the Perkins legislation. Because the assessments and certifications were developed, supported, and driven by panels of business and industry leaders, professionals, and content specialists, their involvement and expertise have been crucial. This does ensure that the assessment and corresponding certification is industry-driven and recognized, and that your students will be documenting their success with the knowledge and skills that business and industry say are very important. Your program can earn the respect it deserves as an important partner in promoting both college and career readiness. Industry-recognized certifications have become an important and critical component in the delivery of career and technical education programs. These certifications do offer outstanding opportunities to students who receive instruction in related family and consumer sciences coursework and programs. They are able to validate their knowledge gained from that instruction. Additionally, teachers can benefit because they have evidence and documentation that their program has successfully prepared students with the knowledge and skills expected from a pre-professional. Schools, employers, and the community can also receive positive benefits because not only will you be preparing students for college, but you will be preparing students to take their important role in the community and working with the employers in your area. So assessments and certifications really offer many, many benefits to all of our stakeholders. I hope today that you have identified a few questions that you might have from this very brief introduction to Pre-PAC. I hope that it has sparked your interest to learn more about Pre-PAC as an important piece of the puzzle on the pathway to success. From our beginnings in 2009, the program has grown exponentially, currently testing in 23 states. We've seen firsthand how the data can be maximized to really help programs on the road to improvement and on the road to documenting their knowledge and success. I hope that you will see that it can be an important piece of the puzzle on your pathway to success for your students and your program. I'm going to offer an opportunity now to answer any questions that you might have regarding the use of the Pre-PAC assessments and certifications in your program. Again, I've given you a very brief introduction to the program. At the end of our session today, you'll receive the handouts from today's presentation that will include the web address for the Pre-PAC assessments and certifications. I hope that you will check those website resources out as you begin to explore the use of assessments and certifications on your pathway to success. So, Emily, let's go ahead and take a few questions.
All right, that sounds great, Lori. Thanks so much. Okay, everyone, now is the time for you to ask Lori, our expert here, any questions you might have. You may do so by using the questions and answers button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. We'll take a moment to let folks type some questions if they have any. All right, and Lori, let's start by addressing what is the cost of the Pre-PAC assessments and how are these usually funded?
That's a great question. The cost of the assessments do vary based on the state that the school or program or test site is located. We have a Pre-PAC consortium of states, and if states participate in that consortium, then they are offered some discounted pricing. However, testing is available across the country, regardless of whether you're in a consortium state or not. So typically, the assessment cost would be anywhere from $20 to $25 for a single administration of the exam. That's a one-time initial administration. And then we also offer our test-retest product that I mentioned when you're looking at testing for performance growth. And that product is between $30 and $40, again, depending on the state that you are in. These assessments at the federal level are Perkins eligible for funding. However, states and local districts do have the opportunity to further restrict Perkins funding. So you'll want to check with your local school and district and state to determine if you can use Perkins funds. But at the federal level, Pre-PAC assessments are Perkins eligible.
Okay, thank you, Lori. And it looks like we've got an attendee chiming into that question as well. I'm wondering if that is $20 to $25 per student?
Yes, that is per student. The $20 to $25 per student, or the $30 to $40 per student.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. What are some of the preparation materials or resources that are available?
From our website, we have a web page devoted to each of our individual assessment and certification areas. From that page, you'll find lots of resources. First of all, you'll find just an introductory page that identifies kind of the background for the assessment and certification. It'll identify the business and industry representatives who served on our development panels. You'll also find our Competency Blueprint, which is the snapshot of the domains and competencies covered within the assessment. Then, to really take a look, a much closer look at each assessment, we have an assessment information bulletin that is roughly 18 to 22 pages that really goes in depth into the assessment and certification and provides an extensive outline of the content that's addressed, as well as sample test items and a list of suggested resources and references as well. We do also provide an instructional resource directory on our website for each assessment that will identify suggested books, curricula, websites that do cover the assessment content. Our assessments, as I mentioned, are competency-based, so they are not tied specifically to one book or one curricula. So as long as you have infused the competencies within your curriculum and instruction, then they should be well prepared for those assessments and certifications without having additional, books and curriculum and that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you, Lori. And it does look like we have additional question of what are some of the most popular assessments or credentials that are administered?
That varies year by year. However, probably over the last 3 years, we have 3 or 4 that kind of really vie against one another at the top. We have our broad field Family and Consumer Sciences exam, which is usually the most popular. And, that can be for many reasons. It covers many areas of family and consumer sciences. So some of the programs of study that include, a little bit of nutrition, a little bit of child development, a little bit of this and that can really benefit from that broad field FCS exam. And then usually following very closely behind it is our early childhood education exam. And we also have one in education fundamentals. And just this past year, education fundamentals was actually ranked as our most popular assessment. It works very well in education and training programs, that career cluster, teacher cadet type programs. You'll see a very positive alignment and correlation there. So that one has been one of our very, very popular assessments.
Okay, thank you, Lori. At this point, it does not appear that we have any other questions. As Lori said, we will be sharing the presentation materials with everyone who has attended today via email. That email will be sent out in the next day or two, so keep an eye on your inbox. And of course, for any additional questions, you may certainly contact the experts using the information on your screen as well, by phone, by email, or going online. We do appreciate everyone taking the time today to join us, and thank you, Lori, as well, for sharing all of this this great information with everyone today.
That's wonderful. And if I can just make a closing statement,
sure.
I would encourage you to take a look at our website. We have a variety of different resources available there for each assessment. We also have a website that's our Pre-PAC management system that actually facilitates each step of the assessment process. So from getting started and getting approved as a test site to administering the exam, accessing all of the data reports, that site is really a key site for us. So I would encourage you to just check out the website, explore what's there. The resources there are available for free to download. There's no membership required or no additional fees. So I would encourage you to just check that out. And then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have after you've had a chance to look at the website and see what might fit within your particular program in your state. I'm just a phone call away or an email away, and I would love to talk to you and work with you to meet the assessment and certification needs that you have within your program, whether it's to meet the Perkins requirements or whether it is to meet other requirements that you have to make sure that you're giving students opportunities to really enhance their employability and to really document their achievement through your program. So I want to thank RealityWorks for the opportunity to be a guest presenter through their webinar series, and thank each one of you who took time out of your afternoon schedule to join us today. So thank you to all of the participants in today's call. Thank you to RealityWorks, and thank you to Emily for facilitating our session today.
Thank you, Lori.